AskReddit by Sam 123786. Imagine having a reverse Yelp where we rate customers on their attitudes, manners, and how well they tip. What review would you leave? Deleted. I used to be a case manager for a Airbnb and was regularly asked to audit reviews for violations of TOS. My favorite one, that I had to leave up BTW, was Greg and his wife were a lovely couple, would love to host them again. 5 stars. Greg wanted the review taken down. His wife wasn't on the trip. Her kids dropped the popcorn so she asked me for a broom to let them clean it up themselves. I said it wasn't necessary but she insisted that she wanted to raise them to be conscious of the fact that when they make a mess someone has to clean it up. Nice lady 5/5. I thought the lady was going to end up going nuts for not getting the broom, but this actually turned out really wholesome. I wish the people that came to my restaurant could teach their kids like this. Deleted. You sound like a nice employee. Very polite but also incredibly awkward for some reason. Saying thank you 5 times when the waiter sets down their drink. Waiting 20 minutes to pay because the waiter looks busy. If that's what you meant, I'm your customer. Very friendly, usually gets a root beer to start and a coffee after their meal. Eats out on break from lunch daily, usually wants quick service and minimal interruptions. Sometimes eats with a client. Usually tips well. Made many additional requests throughout the meal during peak dinner hour. Left the table disgustingly messy. Did not tip well. This guest is awesome. Likes to take suggestions, so offer a drink and make sure to have some lesser known dishes memorized. Will talk to you for as long as you let them. I would mostly try to let other waiters know what to expect from tables. Came on opening weekend of one of the biggest movies of the year 5 minutes before the showtime and then was shocked they'd have to stand in line for their concessions. Then complained to management that they missed their movie. Like what did they think was going to happen? Like we'd have a reserved place in line for them because of their obvious VIP status as King Doucher Lord of Asland? Brought infant to rated R movie then complained that it was too scary and demanded a refund 0 stars. Came in. Ordered. Ate their food in silence. Left minimal mess and a reasonable tip. Then buggered off. My perfect customer. 5 stars. This is my husband and I when we have a night out. Lol. We are usually too tired from the week and all our other obligations to be very exciting dinners, so we sit there quietly and send memes to each other. Then get dessert to go. Edit due to 2. Drunken fool tried to return half bottle of booze because it tastes off. Watch him get in his car and promptly call the police to report drunken driver. I love it. Perfect. The drunk fuck. Becky and Judy, 5 stars. After 2 glasses of Tempranillo, Judy is going to order a half glass. Ask if she went to physical therapy today for her shoulder. If she did, give her the full glass. Becky will wink at you. This is wholesome and I love it. A customer walked in the front door of my very closed, curbside only pub today and asked if we had any steak. He had to ignore a giant sign saying please stay outside, we will bring your phone online order out to you. 0 out of 5 stars. I almost had a rage stroke. Edited to @ this is the 2nd time he's done it. One of the regulars at the DQ did this too. The doors were locked but had try every day. Found out he had dementia. If it's an older man, he may have an excuse, even if he doesn't know, can't remember. She lied about her hair history, wanted white blonde in one session on her virgin dark hair that the strand test determined was a lie. Said she could do it herself at home, turned hair orange instead. Came back to get a color correction and after explaining why she couldn't have blonde she said she'd settle for anything but orange and lighter than the dark. Gets a beautiful chocolate caramel color and cries because it's not blonde and too expensive, and also leaves no tip -5 stars. Not worth my time. Deleted. Apparently the basic front desk bell is too complicated of a mechanism to operate for this person. Also demanded that I reduce her rate because we ran out of complimentary coffee and she couldn't wait the 2 minutes it would take me to make a new pot. Insulted the housekeepers. 20 stars. Edit. Wow. My first silver. Thank you, kind stranger. This is the exact type of person who will also leave a ranting Yelp review on the lack of coffee and poor housekeeping. She walked into the store and complained that outside smelled of gasoline. I told her we would address that issue as soon as an employee became available to do so. Customer is apparently unaware they are pumping gas at a gas station when complaining about the scent of gas. Perhaps she could consider not huffing it while filling her tank? Edit. Holy shnikes, my most upvoted comment ever is about someone sniffing gasoline. I worked at a gas station for like 7 years through high school and college, and oh my god, why are people like this unfair? Then on the flip side you have people out there huffing it like there's no tomorrow and come in and say I love the smell of gasoline. This man can't seem to grasp the basic concept of why films have age ratings and why his 9-year-old was not allowed to watch Sausage Party. That's a strange thing, isn't it? Ratings were made so you can know if you can take your kid to it, but parents don't seem to understand. Likewise, they think animated movie means for kids. Literally hunkered down in the basement with the gunman upstairs, detectives on the phone, another, pregnant, crying, customer and all the staff, and this jackass still had the nerve to ask if his watch was done being repaired before the first shot rang out. Then proceeded to scream at the detectives that this was a huge inconvenience, he had clients waiting at court, and needed this to be over with. Sorry sir, I'll go upstairs and nicely tell the gunman to please stop because you have somewhere to be. I'll gladly risk my life for you, a giant douche. On a different note, I'm sorry that happened. Makes me think of the Black Mirror episode where everyone has a social score and others can see it. Yeah, that was a nice episode. By nice I mean no pig sex or murderers caught in a torture loop. I ended up not watching all of them. It got to be too much. The curly-haired young guy with glasses and a baggy skater vibe dress sense. Clearly smokes hella weed, comes in high and orders food and is always just so polite, like as polite as a customer can get. Sits on a chair and waits for his order and has this stupid smile on his face staring at nothing like 3 times a week. I don't know you but I love you bro. Edit. I should mention, I'm a stoner myself, so I love the guy extra. This is literally me most lunches during non-pandemic times, getting takeout after my first smoke of the day. There are some places that don't appreciate my weed smell or bloodshot eyes, but as I'm super polite, friendly, and generously tip on takeouts while quietly waiting, there are a number of haunts I frequent who I know appreciate a decent regular customer and forgive a stoner like me. Thanks for treating your regular stoner with compassion, he's just trying to get lunch XD. This rich, entitled bitch spent the entire time making me run my ass off for her 12 top and was never satisfied, let alone appreciative. I kept serving them with a fucking smile, which wasn't always easy. When it came time to drop the bill, I left it on the table and informed them that the tip was already included, since they were a party of more than 8 people, so there was no need to add any extra unless they wanted to. She literally stood up. She stood up and started freaking out in an entire dining room full of people about how she shouldn't have to pay because she had to ask me for shit the entire meal. Bitch. It was a buffet. What else could you possibly need? Plus, I got you everything your precious little heart desired. I mean, I guess I could have offered to sick your dick, but I digress. She bitched her way to the general manager, who was always an absolute pushover, and I hate your manager. I just wish the lady that cuts my hair would discreetly tell me if I'm a good tipper or not. Edit. While I'm at it, How much goes on the tip line of a takeout receipt? I'm just making that shit up as I go. Totally not ready for reverse Yelp. You are the type of person who would do well on reverse Yelp. She practically drinks all the salsa and I keep having to give her refills. Her chip to salsa ratio is seriously questionable. Otherwise, she's nice enough. Edit. I misread the question. I thought it asked what review would someone leave of me. I am the salsa lover. Deleted. Stupid bitch ordered a frappuccino with no ice, then proceeded to be pissed at us there were no ice in it. When we asked her if she wanted ice, she screamed at us and said no. I hope she stubs her toe every day for the rest of her life and she gets cheated on. I would give 0 stars, but Yelp makes me give 1, so I guess good job at wasting space. Such customers honestly make me wonder if they just didn't listen to themselves, are not mentally there, or are following a plot I don't get. Stupid cunt kept trying to order a cheeseburger without cheese even though I was trying to save her money by suggesting to instead order a hamburger. Fast forward 30 seconds and she paid for the cost of a cheeseburger, but without the cheese. I hope she choked on it. 1 star. I've heard this kind of thing happening a lot. What goes through people's heads when they do this kind of stupid? Through a drink at mile age 0/10 get fucked sideways with a par leaks you fucking afterbirth. Poetry right there. 0 stars. Followed me around during my graveyard shift asking me where to find a prostitute or strip club and then talked about how he loves to suck dick in prison. Took photos of my boobs after trying and failing to record me saying I love big black cock, because I refused, and saying that he can tell I shave my privates. The only upside is he got himself banned from every establishment in our province and I never have to see him again because he was an American tourist. This really scared me. I'm glad to hear this predatory pose was banned. This stupid old man threw a tantrum over canned noodles. I told him it was on the shelf, but he insisted there were bags in the boxes on top. I told him the boxes were full of the same canned brand, but he didn't listen and started to cause a scene. I went to get my card with a step still on it to show him, but he started hitting his card yelling damn it. I got so angry I ripped the box off the top shelf and canned everywhere. He just said, guess they were cans and walked off. 20 minutes later he comes back and buys the cans 0/10. Off. That reminds me of that Malcolm in the Middle scene with the hot dog toys. Peekaboo doesn't eat mustard. https://www.youtube.com/watch?vexrn7dp88zpa right square bracket open bracket https://www.youtube.com watch v equals xrn7dp88zpa. 1 star. Took a shit in the sink. Wait. I can shit in a sink and still keep a star? Hell yes. STFU and take my money. A middle-aged lady insulted the staff, yelled Valentine's Day is meant to be about Emmy when she was served a fish 0.000001mm smaller than her husband's in length. Refused to pay for said fish after eating the whole thing. Asked for a finger bowl to clean her fingers. Threw a tantrum when she saw there was no lemon with the bowl. I went and personally cut her up some lemon for the finger bowl. When I gave it to her she told me my attitude was disgusting because I smiled too much. Made me sweep away a puddle for her so she didn't get her shoes wet. She could have easily walked around the puddle, but no, she insisted it's Valentine's Day. I don't have to walk around the puddle. Today is about Emmy 0/10 didn't leave a tip and I hope she never breeds. Who the fuck would marry a creature like that? I guarantee that it's not just Valentine's Day that's all about me. Right now? All good. I miss my customers so much. Even the bad ones. I told my least favorite customer in the world the other day to say hello to his wife for me. I hate her too. They are both awful. But I think he was about to cry. He literally stopped in his tracks and turned around and said, "We miss you. This sucks. And you know what? He's a dick." But I miss him too. Maybe this is a reset to us all. Maybe when we get out this mess, we can all do that. Maybe we can just not be assholes and take each other for granted. Maybe we can appreciate all of the things we take for granted. And if not, I'm still going to be happy to complain about that asshole at table 3. He's a dick, but at least I get to complain about him again. The sheer magnitude of optimism coming from this comment has warmed my cold retail working heart. So thanks for that 3. Deleted. Kelsey brought her entire tribe to get tattooed. All 10 of them are turning 18 but only Kelsey is getting a tattoo. She refused to listen to my advice on the size and kept insisting I make it smaller and smaller, specifying she would like it just a medium size, but really dainty and cute. When it came time to do the tattoo, she wasn't wearing the right clothing even though she'd thought about her horoscope sign for weeks. Her friends convinced her to move it several times before we discovered the initial placement I made was the right one. When it came time to pay, she tried to haggle my price by telling me she had a cousin that got his own gun, and that he would do it for a third of my price. After all that, even though I did it perfectly, she had no concept of tipping 0 stars. Oh my god, my artist would love to have this person. His shop has had to deal with so many crackheads and drunks, this would be a walk in the park. Had a customer that was on the phone through the whole order while I was trying to make her burrito and kept asking what she wanted in it and she wouldn't answer, so I started to wrap it up, but then she began to yell at me because she wasn't done yet and began to bitch about how I needed to do my job better. Meanwhile she was still talking on the phone and we had 30 other people in line because it was rush hour. 0 stars. Maybe try not to be such a Karen next time. Reading this made my blood boil. Uber has a system like this, where they rate passengers. I like it. It means good customers get full ratings and are more likely to get drivers responding to them. Bad customers will go to the back of the line. I'm proud to say that I am a 5.0 star passenger, which really isn't that big an accomplishment. It just means that I was well behaved and sat there like a normal person while they drove me to my destination. That's all it takes. Customer service swings both ways in my opinion. Good customers should get good service. Bad customers should be given the bare minimum or thrown out if they are abusive or disruptive. That's what I did when I worked retail. You were nice, I'd bend over backwards for you. If you were an asshole, I would do the absolute bare minimum. But then, I was fortunate that my retail job was just extra cash and I didn't really need it. Pooped in a display toilet. Nuff said. A Karen today came up to me demanding for us to make her a vegetarian burger, so I simply told her that this is Taco Bell. She did not take that too well and started yelling. I told her to please stop, but she continued, so I would like to give her 0 stars. After not reading our cards only sign, she tried to pay in cash. After being informed we couldn't take cash, she threw a temper tantrum and cursed us out 0/5 stars. Edit. The only reason we're not accepting cash is due to the pandemic. Usually, we really don't care. Left me a tip that looked like a $10 bill, but when you unfolded it, it was just a prayer. Hope they rot in hell. I would leave them 0 stars if I could. Deleted. I work in a non-profit performing arts theater, and despite what people think, cancelling shows isn't as easy as saying it's cancelled, even if you're producing it. The board has to approve it, including the playwright and director. The unions involved have to be made aware of the situation and agree to the plan, and then you have to pay the salaries of everyone involved in full even though there's no show. It's a long process with a lot of moving parts. And these fucking ungrateful rich folks sitting on their lily white asses keep calling and emailing our call center, where I work, to passive aggressively tell us off for not cancelling shows fast enough and demanding refunds on tickets, donations, and then claiming they'll never come again because we don't care about them and their well-being. Some of them are even straight up racist and threatening the theater. Rating is -10. These low-class fucktards make early 2000s Paris Hilton and THR Kardashians look sane. Chase me across the parking lot with a cattle prod. 1 star. What? She only ever tips the coins left from the transaction, usually $0.05. While waiting for her order, she loudly explains the most recent conservative talking points to everyone in earshot. On her last visit, which was on the day shelter in place was announced here in SF, she spent 20 minutes ranting about how only businesses had the authority to close themselves down. Truly hope never to serve her again. 1 star. Also in San Francisco. I love when people leave change as a tip, especially when they give you verbal tips. You were amazing. Thank you so much. This was such an awesome experience, which cannot pay my rent. I did have a gentleman grab my wrist a few months ago and demand to know who I voted for. I told him I wrote in Nixon. Crazy lady hassles me while I am ringing up her candy, giving me dirty gazes and openly berating me. Supervisor sees it on camera and lets me know that I handled it with grace. I hope for the sake of other retail employees you don't encounter her. 2 stars. What a bitch, but I got commended. Started out okay, but interaction quickly declined when customer was mildly inconvenienced by new guidelines put in place due to an ongoing global pandemic. Should have spoken to manager about abysmal behavior. Lost faith in customers as a brand. Won't be using again until my bosses make me because their money is more important than my safety. If I'm essential, how come they get to treat me like freshly churned peacock shit? 0/10 stars. Horrible idea. Massive design flaws. Family came into the restaurant today and ordered a good amount of sushi rolls and some chicken hibachis. There was no problem with their payment or their demeanor at first, but be careful. Looks can be deceiving. As soon as we provided their kids with forks, they started flinging rice at each other. Parents didn't even bat an eye, like this was a normal thing, so I'm sure they have done this at other places too. They left the area around them looking like the kids were playing Splatoon and trying to cover as much surface area as they could with rice. Didn't leave a tip for the mess I was left to clean up and didn't even give an apology. Would not recommend serving this family while their inklings are around. This is the second time today I've read this. Both times I've been livid at these people. Parent is both a noun and a verb. Parent those children. Shout out to the man that doesn't know what the fuck wontons are in a wonton soup and yelled at me for not taking them out even though he only said no noodles, which are not wontons, rather the crackers for the soup. You stupid old man, I hope you die. I cried in the bathroom, asshole. 1 star. 5 stars for this sweet southern lady that comes in and is kind to all of us. 0 stars to this insane boomer who always orders a large unsweetened tea with 2 Splendor and 2 Equal because she's mentally insane and has a horrible temper. This bitch lives in the apartment building all the way at the back of the complex, which spans acres, populated by dozens of the worst speed bumps you can imagine, like they'll tear up your car's suspension if you go over them faster than walk speed. Now she texts me, saying to drop off her food at the door and leave it there because she wants a contact-free delivery. Fine. I get to the building, but there is no apartment 109 in this building. Call her, no answer. Text, no answer. Why in the name of all that is holy would you not answer your phone after placing an expensive order for food delivery? Couldn't get an answer, so I'm having a Thai feast tonight, bitch. Usually I'd give the food to beggars, but yeah, not always. I live in an apartment complex and my apartment is in the very back and the apartments are laid out in an entirely nonsensical fashion. I get such anxiety ordering because of stuff like this, and every time the delivery person feels the need to tell me how hard it was to find the apartment. I put detailed directions every time but they always get lost. I really don't know what else to do, it's really frustrating. Amy's Baking Company, they didn't like the food and sent it back, probably because they are cyber bullies. Remember them from Kitchen Nightmares? Tells you what I have been watching all day in quarantine. Did a wink wink nudge nudge motion when telling me she would really prefer to hire a CNA from a similar culture to her own. Called the highly skilled and polite CNA I sent her the N-word and refused to let her into the home. I billed her for the CNA's time anyway and she let it go to collections on principle. 0 stars. Would not recommend. Constantly told me how to do my job, which I've been doing for 10 years. I'm amazed she knew so much that she just didn't do it herself and saved the labor costs. Pro tip. The worst private customers to work for in civil construction are generally mid-40s single women. It blows my mind when people call and say they can't log into their VPN. I tell them it's their corporate login, so if they're screen sharing with me on Slack they obviously know their credentials. They say no, it's not their corporate credentials. I tell them to try it, watch them wiggle their mouse around, then say, it's still not working. I had to tell him, you know I can see your screen, right? And he rage quit the call. Stupid bastard didn't understand that just because the other McDonald's had something doesn't mean this one does. Sorry, we aren't allowed to sell buffalo sauce here, sir. Trust me, if we could we would 1 star.